This sci-fi series didn't do the trick for me. Maybe we can call it this way. Sci-Fi Project 2020. Hi everyone, this is Natalie. Welcome back. I hear the call of sci-fi books and I have started just today to read the first one. I decided to start with my favorite sci-fi author, Gerald M. Kilby, with his, well, new to me, trilogy, and I think it's the Belt series, if I'm not mistaken. The first one called Entanglement. They are never really a huge book. I think it's a bit less than 300, but it is always such a pleasure. So we are way in the future. I don't think that they are giving any specific date. Humans on Earth are living a different part of the solar system. There have been, or apparently it happened pretty regularly, having some heavy wars on Earth. For instance, the west coast of America has been completely nuked, so destroyed, not here anymore. We have humans on Mars, on Ceres, Europa, different part. Some are mining the different asteroids, and here we are following Scott and his crew of the Hermes. They are mining. They are exactly for 5 years doing a survey at finding asteroids where they can mine and what they're gonna find to mine into all of them. This has been 3 years now, so it is very boring. If nothing happens, they are just searching, and the Hermes, the spaceship, has an quantum intelligence, or you can say, if you want to make it very more simple, an artificial intelligence named Arya, and her purpose for her creation, her purpose, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna say differently, is to guarantee the safety of their crew. When we start the story, she had detected vessel, another starship, but which doesn't respond, so seem to be dead, no power anymore, and apparently no forms of life on it. So the Scott and the crew are decided to stop by and to salvage the ship, so to declare ownership, if you want, of their discovery, and whatever they found on it is theirs, and they can sell it. When they are looking for the name of the ship and what happened, because it seems to be a very old one coming from Earth, something that they are not building or making anymore. Their company on the Ceres advised them that they must get inside the ship and to retrieve a spatial container cargo with extreme value, not saying exactly what it is, and they have to bring it back to them ASAP. They gonna discover that this is this piece of whatever it is so much valuable that a lot of others spaceships, so other companies or people, are already going after them in order to take the discovery. So far, this is where I am, so almost half of the book down, and like I said, it's a fast one. I will come back to you with a very extremely tired face and eyes just before shutting down everything and go to sleep. And so I'm gonna stop for tonight. I don't even know what time is it. It's probably, I don't know, past midnight, around 1 o'clock. So it is still good, like sketchy. The other thing that has been revealed to the Hermes crew is that all of the quantum intelligence existing, which were first creating before artificial intelligence, so the QI, they are capable of communicating between one another without humans knowing. I'm curious to see if this is an avenue that might be open for artificial intelligence to take over the galaxy. Anyway, it might not be. So I know it can look like I haven't changed place and we are still the same day, but no, it's exactly the same place, but it's a day later. Well, I'm not gonna say more that I have already said before, and specifically not into too many details, otherwise everything is completely revealed, but it is still reading is fast-paced. You have probably more action in the way of reaction with specific situation happening closer to the end of that first part. I don't think I'm gonna change my mind at giving it a 4-star. It's a strong 1, but I don't see myself giving more than that, just because there are quite a few questions that have been answered, and I don't know yet if the answers will come later or if it wasn't just answered and it's stayed in the vacuum of space and you just have to guess for yourself. At the same time that it is interesting and you really want to follow this adventure by this Hermes crew with this specific quantum intelligence, this device. So who's gonna win, how it's going to end this conflict, or are we gonna have the start of war? You don't have information of Earth, what happened, the development, what is really happening for all the humans on Earth but living elsewhere in space. I am just 10% into the next one, so entanglement, and I can just tell you that the story begins a year and a half after the end of the previous events, the first installment, and we still have the Hermes crew. They are making a survey for the Council of Europe onto Enceladus, the one of the moon of Saturn. They received a message, an urgent one from Europa, telling them to stop anything that they are doing and to drop off everything and to come as fast as possible back in Europa, because they're gonna have to deal with another mission, a specific one, but they are not saying anything. So I'm gonna go into reading. And hello there. What a weird intro. This is the 3rd day, I think, since the beginning of the SciFi project. I am still reading 55 or 57% of the second installment of the Belt series by Gerald M. Kilby, named Entropy. So since last time, the crew has been scattered. Everyone experienced something different. So it's a mess in the way that things are going down to shit. This time it is more gripping because there is more happening. Updates on my reading for the Belt series by Gerald M. Kilby. I started yesterday the part 3, which is evolution, and I am 58% into the story. I have to say, so far my first impressions are that the second one is the best one. The third, so the present one that I'm reading, reminds me again at the first one. I'm afraid, since it's half I just have a have to read before finishing this series that I am not gonna get any explanation. So what has been said with the Dara Lab kind of crazy. It's not even a revenge, it's a madness. It's not even a solid explanation. It's not an explanation. Anyway, that's my point of view, and I will go back into more detail when I will finish the whole thing. In this one, it's interesting because we are back on Earth. So, still many years into the future, so we're having a glimpse of what Earth, well, it's hard to say what Earth looks like because we are just onto the West Coast and specifically onto Death Valley, or what looks like Death Valley at that time. And we don't have a clear picture of the rest of the planets, but it doesn't look good. I have a few tiny minutes before leaving for work, and probably the most of the reading, definitely the most of the reading is gonna happen tonight. I finally finished the trilogy of the Belt by Gerald M. Kilby with the, I thought it was something dark, the Entanglement the first, Entropy the second, and Evolution the third one. I would say the first, it's a 3 stars, the second a 4, and the third, last, 3 stars. What I loved, what makes despite what I said, that it's a fast read, that when you have the action scenes, they are right to the point. You are gripping. You are there at the same time as the characters. You are living and experiencing. We are following the commander of the Hermes, Scott McNabb, and I don't think that he has been created that way, but from the beginning to the very end, I can't stand the character. Let's just say that this one doesn't learn any lesson that he had experienced before. As much as I love the writing and the style of telling a story of Gerald M. Kilby, that's not gonna change anything, but this sci-fi series didn't do the trick for me. If you want to read strong female character, you have to go with Colony Mars series. It's gonna be there. You're not gonna be disappointed at all. 2 days ago I started the Lunar Discovery, and I should have checked the name of the author. I thought it was a standalone, but apparently it's the first one in a series. I can say that so far I'm having some hard time at getting into it. Obviously, it's not the same writing as Gerald M. Kilby, so when one is very easy and fast-paced and captivating, this one is a bit to the opposite. So I have that tingling in my head saying that DNF, DNF. And at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I want to, but I'm curious to see what is going to happen. So the story is, in some close future, the world of the American, the Chinese, and the Russian, who has space stations, had recorded signal coming from the dark side of the moon, and pretty much confirmed that this is an extraterrestrial one. The Chinese who are already on the moon, the Russian want to go there, and the American as well. So it's a race at going there. I think that I'm still gonna keep pushing to see if it's getting any better. Maybe it's just the beginning. Back for an update. So last time, if I remember correctly, I was I was reading. No, I don't have that power. I was reading the Lunar Discovery first installment by Salvador Mercer. I remember the name of the author. I don't remember exactly how far I kept pushing into the story. If I reached the I reached the 20% or not. But maybe you can guess with the sound of my voice that I end up DNFing. It was what I already said before, nothing was interesting enough or gripping enough. It was a lot of technical terms, meetings between Americans or Russian or Chinese, and again, everyone wants to grab the piece for themselves, and nothing really happens. Nothing really, yeah, happened on the moon with the discovery of the alien object, the device which sent a signal. So yeah, I didn't see myself keep pushing and trying. All right, so this is a new updates with the project SciFi, and with the second installment into what's the name again? The Ruins of Mars. Still last year, I read the first, and last time that I updated you, I said that I had some trouble. The first one, I think I gave it 4 stars, probably. And this one, I think I gave, no, I'm sure I gave it 2.5 stars. So you're gonna ask, what had made such a difference between the two? We are spending pretty much the whole time of the second installment. Well, we're obviously still on Mars with the crew who had arrived on the planet to study the discovery of the ruins and try to understand what had happened and start to terraform the planet for future habitation. During the whole time, we have the, well, not the difficulty, we have the classic ego and ambition, sick ambition of earthlings. I think this is the right word to use, who always want to reach for power, and that they are ready for anything. So while on Mars they are trying to survive and to keep going, on Earth they are trying to bomb one each other. So it's the classic thing. So we are following the conversations on Earth. It's not that it wasn't action packed. The first one wasn't action packed, but you had the interest, the kind of excitement of the discovery of what is going to be found with the ruins. And this time we barely have anything. So we are not really making any progress. We have more, like I said, some in between things that want to go somewhere, but they are not going anywhere. And at the end, so like I said, that everyone on Earth wants to get the power, and one of them is to own, to possess Mars as an outpost, and the whatever technology that may be found within the ruins. One of the weakness of the writing in this story anyway is the transition of what is going on between the different groups. We have some researchers, we have some pilots, we have some earthlings, and pretty much everything or most of the things happen at the same time. But it's not the jump between one another. It's like we are going back and starting again the same scenes, if you want, where it's cross passing, and but seeing with from the others. It was having that way, not as exciting and thrilling for the discovery. It's true that this isn't something that I reach during, because it's as boring as whatever we can live nowadays. I'd like to read something, imagine something, to really come up with something from, I wanted to say from those ancient times. Well, probably at some point there was someone on Mars, but I was hoping that it was gonna go in that direction. So maybe the third one will be, but for me, I'm gonna stop here, and I really do not intend to keep reading that series, so to finish the trilogy. So welcome back, and this is Natalie in the future, because I didn't take the time. I was taking with something else to finish those two last books. I started, read, finished, since it's a while ago. The first one, City and the Gods, which is the first installment, and City and the Stars, or the God and the Stars. Oh man, so despite the first 15 or 13 pages anyway, percent of the book, it is so much worth it. We are way in the future, somewhere in space, on a different, it's not a planet, it's a base built on the satellites of a planet. This is half of the rest of human on Earth. Way in the past, something happened. The planet, everyone pretty much died, and the gods, so plural, came. They took with them what left. I think it was 6,000 or something like that, so it was barely anything left of the of human on Earth. They took them and they transport them far away into the universe. Those gods, those ancients, they ask for 9, I think, or it was 7 humans to give them some powers. Those ones will become their gods, and those powers are gonna secure them to find a new planet to live, to protect them, to transfer the knowledge, but to be able to protect them if, and they hope not, that in the future what happened on Earth will not happen again wherever they will be, and those 7 or 9 humans becoming new gods. When you've got that information, you understand that despite the confusion of the beginning, that you don't really understand where we are or what is going on, who it's what's where, after the sort of an invasion that happens, the god, I don't remember his name, but the one who's living among those earthlings, but they're not on Earth anymore, he died. I wanted to say assistant, but it's not assistant. That young woman, she is the link. She does the connection between the god or the gods and the humans. When the gods have something to say, she does that transmission. She is the link, and the god, just before dying, chose her, prepare her, transform her to get all of his knowledge, not to lose it, and allow her that way to communicate with the other gods, because they are spread elsewhere. They are doing different mission, different tasks. Her goal is to secure and save their station that has been built, and she is trying to make them understand that they have to learn to defend themselves again, as the same way as before on Earth. Since they had gods, and specifically one living among them, he was the one protecting them if something happened. So having a police, having military or knowing how to defend yourself. It wasn't even in the balance. She's not 100% the replacement for the god that they lost. So she needs the other ones to come to do their job again and to protect them, because chances are high that the enemy is gonna come back. And so this is pretty much what is happening for the first City of Gods. It is so fast-paced with action that everything that has happened everywhere, this is so well described. You're hooked on whatever is happening, and you really wish that they're gonna survive and they're gonna make it, that the other gods are gonna come, and you want to know what's going to happen. And when you finish the first one, City of the Gods, well, I bought immediately the second one because you want to know. It's not the ending. It's like, okay, so now where are they? So in the second City of the Stars, I think I'm not mistaken, they have to deal with the afterwards with themselves and with the gods. It's slower, the pace, just because we are not in action again, but for a very good reason, so that doesn't take anything away. I really did enjoy. I think I give it probably 4.5 or 4 stars. I would say it doesn't get the 5 because of the ending. It's not that it's an unsatisfying one, it is, but it happens so fast, and suddenly it was like, it's like, you know, at the end of the movie, more likely than in the book, when the difficult part, it's and we are showing the happy ending, so we go back with the main characters, and you know, sometimes, oh, okay, they get married and they got their children, and then we're gonna go into another one character, they're gonna see now what's happened a few months after. This is that kind of thing, that from a very suspenseful to like this, the happy ending. It's like, I'm glad for the happy ending, you want that, but there's so much missing in between that is missing. Nevertheless, I really did love the writing of this author. I think it's an indie one or a self-published one. It was really a good job. So now it's time to recap everything that I read during this sci-fi project part 1, because there are way more sci-fi on the list that I want to read and I will read. I went through the Belt series by Gerald M. Kilby. It was Entanglement, Entropy, and Evolution. I gave respectfully 3, 4, and 3 stars. I'm just gonna say that this isn't my favorite series from him. Colony Mars is still top notch. If you want to read something about Mars, Colony Mars, and full pack and mind opening onto the building kind of a new civilization elsewhere and trying to learn from the mistake and try to change. And I tried to read Lunar Discovery, the first installment by Salvador Mercer, and I DNF'd it. Runes of Mars, the second installment, Waking Titans by James Quarles, and I forgot again to check that. The first one was interesting, it was promising. I don't remember if it was a 4-star or 3 stars, but yeah, I wanted to obviously continue and try to see what it was. I didn't like it at all. I give it 2.5 stars. So then are the 2 last one that I just mentioned. So okay, so it was just reverse. Gods in the City, which is the first installment by Steve Stedman, and the second, Gods and the Stars. So yeah, it was close enough. You know, there was City, Gods, and Stars, so it's just, that's there. The name of the series is Gods and the Stairways. So I have to say that more or less, I am satisfied with that first part of the sci-fi project. even if there is mainly just one good discovery with the series of Steve Statham, and everything else is more so or disappointing. But for me, yes, it is satisfying because I have quite a few of sci-fi, and it's been a while that I got them on my Kindle, so I wanted to go through it. So I think in that way, with that sci-fi project, it's gonna be a good way to try at the same time to find some indie authors, and hopefully can be loved too. So I hope that throughout all of those different books, you are gonna be tempting to read something, and I would say that go for Steve Statham with Gods and the City and the Stars. That one is really worth it. It's time to go into the stars. Do not hesitate. You can be seduced and fall in love with, a sci-fi book, because they can be captivating as well. Don't forget to subscribe, to click onto the like buttons. It's gonna help my channel to keep growing. And really don't be scared, because I'm gonna come back really soon.